Turn now to the other news this Monday night and to the terrifying moments on board a passenger jet flying from outside Seattle to San Francisco when an off-duty pilot sitting in the cockpit jump seat allegedly tried to shut down the engines mid-flight with 83 people on board, including passengers, infants on their parents' laps. Authorities say the on-duty cockpit and cabin crew subdued the man, handcuffing him to a seat in the cabin. The plane then diverting to Portland, police waiting on the tarmac, taking him into custody. Tonight, Joseph Emerson now facing 83 counts of attempted murder.
83 counts? Yeah, he's done. He's finito. In fact, he was in the plane's cockpit and said, you know what, let me just switch this off, like he's switching off a TV, like the previous pilot before as well. I don't know whether he thought he was on the movie set for Flight with Denzel Washington.
Tonight here, you will hear the conversation between the cockpit and air traffic control as this all unfolded. ABC's Gio Benitez covers aviation and this investigation tonight.
Tonight, the FBI is investigating after an off-duty pilot allegedly tried to crash a passenger plane. Alaska Airlines Flight 2059 left Everett, Washington, bound for San Francisco at 5:23 p.m. Sunday, packed full with 80 passengers, including multiple infants on laps. And 44-year-old Joseph Emerson, an off-duty pilot with Alaska Airlines who was hitching a ride, seated in a jump seat inside the cockpit. Soon after takeoff, he allegedly tried to cut the plane's engines by pulling the fire extinguisher handles on the engines called a T-handle.
Nah, he's bugging. He's bugging. I don't know. Whatever drug he was on, let me know what it is so I know to avoid it. That's bonkers. I don't know. But the thing is, there was an article saying that he was mourning the death of his friend from 2018. He revealed to the New York Times from a jailhouse interview that the incident took place after he allegedly consumed hallucinogenic magic mushrooms 2 days prior. Having taken the mushrooms during a weekend getaway commemorating the death of his best friend in 2018, Emerson claims he was experiencing a bad trip in which he didn't know what was real. Texting a friend that he was having a panic attack, Emerson ultimately determined the best course of action would be to crash the plane he was on board in hopes of waking up. I thought I would stop both engines. The plane would start to head towards the crash and I would wake up, he said, revealing he was struggling with depression for months and had not slept 40 hours prior to the flight. There needs to be mental health screen tests, though, for people that are in public positions. The mushrooms just got the better of him. I know for a fact he's not Mario, but, you know, got the better of him and he wanted to crash the plane. And now his life's ruined.
The T-handle, which is what this individual tried to pull on each engine, actually turns the engine off and prepares it for a fire extinguisher. The problem is, at high altitude, you can get the engines restarted. At low altitude, there could be a fatal result.
Crew able to overpower Emerson and get him out of that cockpit, handcuffing him to a seat in the rear of the cabin.
We've got the guy that tried to shut the engines down out of the cockpit. Doesn't sound like he's causing any issue in the back right now. I think he's the dude.
I was panicked. I was alone in the back, and, you know, everyone was shifting around, trying to figure out what was happening.
The pilot's diverting to Portland, where Emerson was taken into custody.
After we did land and the gentleman was escorted off, the flight attendant got back on the speaker and said, plain and simple, he had a mental breakdown.
Tonight, the airline and the FAA say the incident is not related to current events.
I would have been stressed. Like, you're part of the cabin crew, the airline crew, and then you're dealing with this. I'm like, I'll say to my boss, I need 2 weeks off. I'm stressed. This isn't part of the conditions, the terms and conditions of the contract that I signed. Like, yeah, I'm supposed to serve customers on flight, but I don't know to be subduing someone that's taking mushrooms. Like I said, unless they were eating mushrooms, cool, innit? But when they're taking it as a drug, then that's a problem. And no, that's crazy. Like, I feel for him though. Like I said, he's dealing with depression and the passing of his friend from 2018. Like I said, grief is like waves, isn't it? Some days are good, some days are shit. It's this one that was just, unfortunately, he's taking a plane flight, but it's the crashing part that's just insane. He said, I need to wake up. He's like Alice in Wonderland, but instead of just waking up normally, in his dream, he wants to crash the Boeing plane. And obviously, he's going to get charged for attempted murder. He wanted to take out the whole plane. Like I said, drugs have different effects on some other people. Some people like weed, some people like alcohol, some people like smoking, vaping. Different stuff ain't for everyone, and everyone has different side effects. It's a shame. The whole thing's a mess. I'm glad, obviously, there was no fatalities and whatnot, and he got subdued. But Yeah, even the last one, like the guy that went on holiday and then in the last video, he went on the flight and then decided, yeah, he wanted to sniff some lines and then wanted to fly the plane back. I'm like, this guy would have been an absolute wreck. It's crazy, but yeah, I'm glad nobody was hurt. But that's why I'm just thankful when I can just get A to B in one piece and my life is in the hands of someone that's in public transport, plane, bus, Uber, you name it. But boy, stay off the drugs, man. Stay off the drugs.